first day at Neverland was Michael making physical contact with me. Like his hand on my thigh, hugs, It felt great. And out of all the kids in the world, he chose me to be his friend. And he's holding my hand. Within the context of what was going on, it seemed normal, The days were filled with playing tag, watching movies. He taught me how to do the moonwalk. This contrast began between the day and the night. We were going to sleep in his bed. The first thing I remember is Michael sort of, moving his hands across my legs. We're both clothed in PJs. And then his hand sort of got to, my crotch area. Beginning sort of fondling there.
How old were you?
I was 7 years old when this began. Fondling my penis over the top of my pants. And then his hands went underneath my pants. And started touching my penis underneath my pants. And there was nothing aggressive about it, nothing abrasive. I never felt scared or anything like that. It just didn't seem that strange. And then him guiding me to do the same thing with him. So moving my hands to touch his penis, which, was erect. Him talking to me, you and I were brought together by God. We were meant to be together, and this is us showing each other that we love each other. This is how we show our love. It escalated rapidly. So taking showers together and, fondling and kissing. So him kissing me, like full open mouth, tongue in mouth, kissing. He would put my fingers on his nipples and tell me to squeeze them. And he would moan and react to that like it felt good. And I liked the feeling that was making him happy, that was pleasing him, And then Michael pulling my pants and my underwear down, pulling them off. And going down and starting to, perform oral sex on me. And I remember him putting my hands on his head when he was down there. I'll never forget the feeling of his hair. That was rough, almost like a Brillo pad, like this roughness. And he's down there, and with his mouth on my 7-year-old penis. Quickly it turned into having me perform oral sex on him too. To be honest and to be graphic about it, a full adult grown man size penis in my mouth, in a little 7-year-old's mouth. He didn't ejaculate when he had me perform oral sex on him, but he would masturbate in front of me. He would have me kind of go to like the corner of the bed, like a far corner of the bed. So he'd be laying back on a pillow and have me go to the far corner of the bed and be on all fours and have me sort of just bend over my knees, so he could look at my anus while he was masturbating. And I was just kind of on display. And then periodically through that, he would kind of come up and stick his tongue in my anus. Right in front of me, there was this big, kind of elaborate Peter Pan cardboard cutout. So it's like I was either looking back at him, masturbating, or looking forward at Peter Pan. And then we'd get up in the morning like nothing had ever happened and go have another day filled with childhood, magical games and adventures. Yeah, when my parents came back at the end of the week, I definitely remember a feeling of us and them. Our relationship had evolved in so many ways, and he had done so much talking to me about not trusting people, any people, especially women. He started calling me son. And for me, the idea of Michael Jackson being my dad was the most incredible idea in the world. I didn't have anything against my dad, that's for sure. But Michael was just too big. That fantasy was just too good to turn down. Michael was preparing for his History World Tour. I was brought by Michael's driver to the dance studio where Michael was rehearsing for me to be able to watch rehearsal a little bit and hang out. And that night, he took me back with Michael back to the hotel. And so I'm 14 at this point, and I've had a major growth spurt. I'm probably 5'11", so the same or taller than Michael. Just a whole different physical vibe. And at some point in the night, we slip back into the routine, the same sort of sexual stuff. And I don't remember how exactly it evolved to this, how it moved to this next stage. But what ended up happening is Michael tried to penetrate me in my anus with his penis. Trying for a while, and I guess was able to a bit, but it was really painful and too painful for me. So he stopped. I don't remember us like talking about it or anything like that, or acting like anything particularly different had happened. I think after that, after it wasn't working, after it was too painful for me, we kind of went back to our regular sexual routine. The next morning, Michael had like a recording session to prepare for. He handed me some new like camera that he had gotten that I could play with. I was dropped off by his driver back to my condo in Hollywood. And then that afternoon, my mother receives a phone call from Michael's personal secretary that Michael wants to see Wade right away. I think I was picked up again by Michael's driver and brought to the dance studio where he was back in rehearsals. Right away, he just went right into it. He was kind of super nervous and said, "What did you do with your underwear from last night?" I said, I don't know. I took them off and, showered and put new ones on. He said, "You got to go home and find them." And I don't know if there's any, there might be some blood on them. If there is, you got to get rid of them.
How long does it take you to get home?
Got back in the car and he drove me back to the condo, and luckily, not luckily, I guess my mother hadn't found them, hadn't tried to clean them or anything yet. I found the underwear and there was some drops of blood on the inside.
Your blood.
My blood. I grabbed them, sort of stuffed them in my pocket, down into the garage, and threw them in the bin. That was the last sexual experience that I remember with Michael.